So I wanted to have a go at making some terrain that I could put up on a game table in really no time at all, whether it was a war game like Warhammer or a D&D table for a quick combat. And what I came up with was this. This is what I call rock rag, and it worked out an absolute treat. So I am going to show you how I made it. Hello. So this is rock rag. I had this old bit of curtain material. I'm going to bring it up here so you can see a bit closer. Old bit of curtain material that I thought, you know what? I am not going to throw that away. I'm going to use it. So you can see it's a pretty decent size, and it makes for an instant terrain game table. And you know, it's durable enough to deal with miniatures going over some of these humps and lumps and whatever that just form naturally through the process. So you obviously need a big flat area that you can lay your piece of material down on. Soak the piece of material with water first. I used a hose pipe. You could use a watering can or whatever, but just give it a good saturation so that it's wet. Get your big tub of PVA and literally like just upend it and pour it all over your material, because you're going to take the broom and you're going to sweep over the whole thing. Now, I did mine out on a courtyard and unfortunately left some marks behind. So what I recommend is get yourself a piece of like builder's polythene or something like that. Just lay that down first so that your overspill of these materials doesn't leave some unsightly marks. So once you've put the water and the PVA down, you've swept it all over, so you've got a good coverage of liquid, PVA liquid. I then take my browning plaster and I just walk around and just good handfuls of it. Don't be shy with it. And then I get the hose back on it again to wet it all down. And between the PVA and the browning plaster, that's what's going to give this cloth its real sort of stiffness that allows you to be able to later flex it however you want. However, this has got some strong texture on it. So just to show you, I've got a smaller piece here as well, which I'm going to do. So you can see this texture is just great, you know, it's real cracked, rocky terrain. So what's on here? Okay, so I am a big fan of a garden product called vermiculate. So this entire bag cost £1 from the pound shop. I bought 2 of them, and I've done tons of projects, and that's as much as I've used so far out of this, and that's including doing this. So vermiculate is this very fine, grainy, I think it's like a wood chip maybe or something like that. With the vermiculate, you scatter that all over, just big handfuls of it, and that gives us this lovely coarse feel that will obviously pick up when we do all of that dry brushing that we love so much. In addition to that, on these on this I also have a bag of like pea gravel, just chips that you can also get from a garden centre dirt cheap, and just went over and just scattered some of that around, and then I got the brush and kind of went around just jump the brush all over, just to make sure that are well coated with adhesive, and then leave it to dry. So I do recommend doing it on a warm day. I put mine over a clothes hanger, so I covered it with some builder's polythene and then just hung it to dry as it was. I have to say, just as a very quick gaming table, especially for something like Warhammer on a sun-blasted apocalyptic world, this sandy kind of texture, you could probably live with this and just run with it. If I was going to go with this, I would probably do one more coat of PVA. I have a whole, I'm working on a table at the moment, which this is going to be involved in, and I've got a whole bunch of terrain that needs painting up, so I'm going to paint this at the same time. And on something this size, my choice here is masonry paint. It's built to go onto brick. It also will help to be a sealant to help seal some of this texture down. So I may not need to PVA. And then I have got some brush work to do after that as well, which I'll work with acrylics, which go perfectly well over this masonry paint. This is a black, so nice and solid. I'll thin this down a little bit, but I will thin it down physically on here rather than putting it in a tub to thin it down to put it on here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a sort of instant game table, a couple of extra bits of terrain on top of this, and you could literally set a table up in less than a minute and have something that looks pretty damn effective. So I'm going to crack on now and paint this. So this is the rock rag actually in use. On the game table it's made up of probably 2 or 3 pieces, although the one piece is big enough. But because I've got this rise in the game table to produce some sort of additional cliff edges, it's just sometimes easier if you've got multiple pieces. And as I said in the behind the scenes video, this is just made from one single piece of curtain. So I'm just going to take a couple of these scatter pieces off the table for now, so that you can get a closer look at this. So it really is just material that I can lay down and layer up to create the environment that I'm after. Excuse the shaky camera work, but I'm on my mobile so that you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, it's really flexible. You can model it as well to sort of do what you want, you know, especially over these sort of edges. You know, you can really sort of bend it, shove it where you want it to go to make the kind of feature that you're after. And as you can see from me just doing that as well, it's extremely durable. This rock rag has been taken down, rolled up, packed away, unrolled and reset up dozens of times now, and it really it barely has taken any damage. And you know, occasionally you might see a little area where something has cracked off, you know, here maybe, but it really doesn't actually detract from the overall effect when it's on a table. And these things are very, very easy to touch up. And as I say, we've been using this now for quite a number of game sessions, and it's probably over a year old at this point, so it's not really taken any substantial damage in that time, other than maybe the occasional cup of coffee knocked over it. So there you have it, guys. Rock rag. It's easy to make, it's really easy to set up, and it's really easy to take down. Take your pieces, and fold it up. Dead easy to store. So if you have an old pair of curtains that you plan on chucking away, or any old piece of material really that's going to be the general size of a gaming board, think twice. So if you've enjoyed this, as they all say, hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you want more, and if you do, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.